most times when I talk about anything political, y'all are with my friends.
Praising the former computer repair shop owner for not allowing the FBI
to... Or we can talk about it together.
Wrong one. Here we go.
I don't know. I'm speaking from a point of bias because I'm a God-fearing man. That's one. I'm not
children to keep your family together and you raise and keep everybody happy and healthy, and there's great reward to that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out. It's people change. People are fucked up. It doesn't always work. And so I don't think it should be outlawed because 50% of the people fall apart. Just like I don't think it has any effect whatsoever on a straight couple if a gay couple decides that they want to make it official. And that's what it is to them. It gives them a feeling that they're accepted and appreciated and that they're not discriminated against because they happen to be homosexual.
So, well, what you're articulating to me is the damage that's done by gay marriage to the institution of marriage.
But how is it done? How is that in any way damaged straight people?
Because we are making the institution meaningless.
But it's not meaningless.
Well, but you're just saying.
We are. I like that. We are making it meaningless. We are watering it down and saying, oh, it's for anybody and everybody to do anything and everything. That's what we're doing. I don't care how you look at it, but that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, I do care how you look at it, but I would rather, I hope, if you're looking at it from a scope different than mine, that you at least consider objectively looking into it the way I'm saying it. Because guess what? I am forced to consider, to objectively look into it the way the gay community want us to look into it. Forced. All right? So, yeah, consider that.
Very meaningful to the people that have it.
Subjective, symbolic, and it's about your own personal feelings.
Isn't it, though?
Well, no, I would say that it's not. Well,
if it's not subjective and it's not symbolic,
it codifies and protects and gives a name to a thing that actually exists, which are man, woman couples creating people, creating babies.
But not always.
Here we go, bro. Who else is creating babies? Joe. I think he's high right now. I think Joe's high as a kite right now. Sometimes he's super on point, but I get it. He has a stance. Like I'm for gay marriage. I get it. So he has a stance, and he's going to communicate it. I like this.
Right, but that's still the nature of the union. So,
but what are the percentage of people today that are married that don't have children? I bet it's pretty high amongst heterosexuals.
Probably.
Is there something wrong with that?
I think there is something wrong with that. I think there is something wrong with getting married and saying, oh, we're not going to have any kids at all.
But why is there something wrong with that of someone's personal choice? Well, why is it wrong that two people are like, I am deeply committed to work and I don't want to sacrifice any of my career and I don't want to ruin a kid because I'm constantly at the office, but that's where I get deep satisfaction and that's what I'm focused on.
Everything you just now said, Joe, is selfish as flop.
Well, again, I don't think Matt Walsh. I got it right this time. It's Matt Walsh. Matt. Don't forget it, Cruz. Matt Walsh. The other guy is Joe. Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan versus Matt Walsh. Okay. Matt. Before I forget. Okay. I don't think Matt Walsh understands that read the Bible again in the Old and the New Testament, you'll see that it does change. People can get married today in this day and time, okay, and not have any children. People can get married, especially if they're older. Like if you get married at like 18, that's fresh out of college, and you got your life ahead of you. You got a career, your husband got a career, you got the finances to have kids. I don't see nothing wrong with your family putting a little bit of pressure on you as like, hey, when you going to have kids? When you going to make me some grandkids? You know what I'm saying? Because that's just so beautiful when you're going to have children and you're going to spend, 20 years with those kids, raising them kids before they take off and run off to college or run off and get married, and you're going to raise them and you're going to bring them up in the right way. You're going to make beautiful people and put them on this planet. It's a beautiful thing. Now, a lot of couples, there are couples out there that did not have children. And they got old because, when they first got married, they wanted to play around and they wanted to act like boyfriend and girlfriend instead of husband and wife. You know what I'm saying? They was just traveling all the time. They got married, but they never settled down. They got married, but they never settled down. They got married and they were doing the same things that they were doing when they were boyfriend and girlfriend, just traveling and having fun and drinking and doing crazy things and getting in trouble together, partners in crime. That's what they were doing. Okay? But I've seen couples, namely women, especially women, who, they're upset that they didn't have children by the man that they were married to that was a dog. The very man that they divorced, they wish they at least had children by him because they spent the most amount of years with him, and they're thinking maybe if we had kids together, maybe if I'd have gave him some sons or daughters, maybe he would have slowed down and calmed himself a little bit. And so here they are, old, too old to have children, but they're in another relationship, and they feel like we should have had some little ones. And life would have been different if we had some little ones. I feel like I didn't do my part in this life. I didn't bring any children. But at the same time, there's a lot of women out there that are not fit to be mothers. They're fit to be good wives, but they're not fit to be good mothers. There's a lot of men out there, okay, that it's going to be a while before they really understand how to be a father. So you don't want to just like, as soon as you put a couple together, okay, let's pop out them babies. Come on, you know what we're into. Pop out them babies. Can't be like that. And I think in this day and time, God, as long as there are people having children, okay? As long as there are people having children, everybody doesn't have to have children. As long as we're keeping the black race going, the white race going, the Mexican race going, the Indian race going, the Native American race going, as long as people are screwing and having children, everybody doesn't need to have children. Because the whole point of having children is bringing other children into your race, expanding your race and your cultures. That's what, okay? And there are, if you look at it, there are like the Asians in certain parts of the world are getting real small because men and women don't come together. Not only do they not get married, they don't even fornicate. They don't have babies. Period. And their country is telling them that they're only allowed to have one baby, 1 or 2 kids per family. So that's going to take the Asian race down a notch. Okay? We need to have as many Asian women as we can, because I think they're the cutest, and I think they're just the most stunning. And we need, with those women right there, we need to have a lot of them. Okay? And while you're at it, have one hurry up and grow up so she can marry me. Okay? But the thing is, Asian women, most of the time, they only like white guys. There ain't that many black guys with Asian girls, unless we're talking about, scandals or something, I mean, every now and then there's you see a black guy with an Asian girl, but in most cases, most Asian women want to be with white guys. They think white people and Asian people are the same people. That's another video, but that's the only thing that would get me to. I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. That's derogatory. I'm not gonna say that. But anyway, the point is, in this day and time, Paul even talked about in the New Testament that there are times when it's not good to have children. There are times when it's not even good to get married. That doesn't mean fornicate. That just means that men and women don't need to come together like that because we're fighting a war. And last thing we want to do is be married and see our wife go through that, or be married and see our children go through that, or whatever. We need to win this war, and then we can come back when we're living in a a free democracy again. Then we can come and get married and procreate. But there are times when it's not good. It's not always good. The point is that Paul was making, it's not always good to get married. It's not always good to have sex. It's not always good to have children. You can look around you and tell. Just like if we're going through a civil war, okay? You do not want to fall in love during a civil war, okay? Because somebody's bound to take it out on your wife, okay? She's an easy target, especially if she's out there instead of being locked in the house, It's just not a good time. But let me let him finish.
Okay, it's selfish. Everything is me, 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 me. I. What about the future of this world? If everyone, think about this. If everyone adopt the same mentality that Joe Rogan is communicating right now, but what about, I love my job. That's where I spend most of my hours. I get my satisfaction and fulfillment out of that. I'm good with that. That's what I want to do forever. But I want to be married to someone. Listen, if everyone adopt that type of mentality, people will stop being made. Do you understand me? People will stop being created. Let me take it a step further. America will be taken over by people who hold God's values the way that they were intended, and the influx of people that will come here and start procreating and just moving people out the way. Oh, you were the most people in the country at first, but guess what? It's us now. It was white people at first, the majority. Now it's us. It was black people at this point, but now it's us. And then you're going to look like, whoa, what happened? What happened is selfishness. What happened is our way of thinking that, what about, I don't want to do it. I don't want to have any babies. I just want to get married so I can travel the world. Yeah, travel the world. And at the same time, everything is going to change completely opposite of what you know this world to represent, because you are extremely selfish. Now, I'm speaking from a point of, I'm speaking from a point of bias, because I'm a God-fearing man. That's one. I'm not, but I do understand that if everyone adopts that mentality, if you look at two mentalities, Matt Walsh's when it comes to marriage and Joe Rogan's when it comes to marriage, and if everyone was to adopt Matt Walsh's mentality, this world will continue to grow and thrive. People will get together, be married, have families, and do things properly, and everything will continue.
There's only one thing that is compatible with the Bible, and that would be something very similar. Like, you can't go against the biology. You can't. We're made to. We're created to have sex. We're created to have children. We're created to be two genders. We're created. Men and women have roles. The church has done a great job. The founding fathers of this nation and other nations that are Christian, or other parts of nations that are Christian, have done a good job of building positive communities, where people are, coming through life beautiful. They're growing old gracefully. Their children are growing up to be beautiful people and successful people and happy people and moral people, modest people, clean people, and some people don't even know where to give that credit to. It comes from the credit of these pro-American family traditions that are also biblical, because the people that discovered America were in some way Christian / real Christian. Like some people, like the founding fathers, they weren't all Christian, but they believed in the same, like even the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church believed in the same guidelines as the Christian Church. The Protestants and the Catholics shared, the same guidelines, but on a religious level they were at war, but yet they shared the same guidelines as far as the nuclear family. Okay? Now today it's different, where you can be a Catholic and call yourself a devout Catholic and say you're true to your religion, but you're a fornicator, you're gay. Okay? I mean, Pope Benedict, he is just as bad as Barack Obama. He's just coming up with, crazy stuff like, oh, you can be an atheist and go to heaven. You can be gay and be a Christian and all this kind of stuff. He's a liar. He's a lie. These are the things that tear America down, not lift it up. Okay? Now, this is the thing. All you people watching my channel, watching LFR, watching Joe Rogan, talking Matt Walsh, and all these channels where, you got people like, what's his name, Jordan? What's his name? Jordan Peterson? Jordan Peterson, I think. You got all these people who have these values, but yet, like he said earlier in the last video I did, it's about choice. How can we convince you that these, like, there's your choice and then there's the original choice? Okay? You know what I'm saying? There's your choice, there's my choice, and then there's the original choice. There is a choice that is like gravity. Like, the commandments of God are like gravity. You can't really break them. They're like gravity. Okay? So, let me finish.
You to go like this. Everything will expand and do well. Now you have Joe Rogan's mentality, where people are getting together and they're saying, we don't want any families. We just want to be with each other. We just want to, I love you, girl. I just want you in my life. That's it. I don't want no kids. I don't want to do any of that. That's just travel. Get us a dog.
You might as well just be boyfriend and girlfriend then.
Which world grows the fastest? Which one grows the slowest? Which one is more selfish? Think about that. That's where I'm coming from. I could be dead wrong. But I've been wrong before. I don't mind being wrong.
And the woman says, that's great because I don't want children either. I really am attached to my interests in my career and what I like to do. That's not damaging your relationship with your wife and your family. I certainly don't think of it as a threat to my marriage or my family.
Yeah, it is a personal
society
choice.
Right, but shouldn't people be allowed to make those personal choices? Like, isn't that a fundamental aspect of what it...
That's just like when my daughter went to school. Now, again, my daughter went to Valley High School. It's a good school. They were morally in control of the students as far as how the students behaved at school. But after school, the students could do what they wanted to do. And I sat there at the top of the steps in my house and heard kids from my daughter's school come there and tell her that she don't have to listen to her father, that her going to church and stuff is just a drag, it's just a bummer, and all that kind of stuff. Okay? They ruined my daughter. You know, I'm not going to blame them for all of it, but they had a lot to do with it. Okay? Because I would come home and I would tell my daughter, hey, sweetheart, make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure you do that. And then, you know, her friends would get her in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and my older daughter followed my younger daughter, and my younger daughter followed her friends. You know. And, you know, it just, you know, if you're going to practice gayism, you know, like back in my day, you know, when, you know, I had gay friends right across the street from me and all like that. Nobody knew they was gay but us, because we're their friends. We're related and all that. We knew they were gay, but we didn't take that out in the street. But like I told you in another video, my friend across the street went to messing with somebody's younger brother. And the younger brother, he didn't come out and punch him in the face. He was scared. He was like, you know, he just wanted to tell him that, hey, I'm not gay. And he said, yeah, you are. You know, and he kept on hitting on him. Because, you know, the little brother was kind of like too easygoing. And he kept on, and next thing you know, I'm here hanging out with the dude. And I'm ready to step in and help him fight these guys. But then they turned around and mentioned this little brother. Wait, whoa, hold up. You put your hands on his little brother? And they did the same thing to my daughter in school, who is actually gay, my youngest one. They did the same thing to her. They was hitting on her, talking to her about the gay community, and she should join and all like that. And she, you know, she'd be a good candidate for this community and all this junk. They did that, you know. And you know, I mean, then what really got her was the pot. It was easy to hang out with the LGBTQ people when they were the ones that were always able to get the free pot. So she was smoking pot and hanging out with them. I had to go knock on doors in the neighborhood, take the police with me, and say, hey, can I have my daughter back, please? I'd like to take my daughter home, please, you know. And it was that pot that, like, the pot mixed with the homosexuality was a dangerous combination, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, then she also went through an ordeal where, like, my daughter didn't dress like other girls and stuff like that. I never paid attention because I don't look at my daughter. I never looked at my daughter as not being like the other girls. I looked at her like a teenager. She's a teenager. She doesn't need to wear skimpy clothes and all that kind of stuff. So the other kids would pick on her and tell her that she needs to be more feminine. So she started hanging out with gay people because a lot of her gay friends were dykes. And they liked to dress like boys. And it was easier to dress like a boy than like a girl. You know, boys don't have to get their nails done. You know what I'm saying? All like that. So a young girl, you know, trying to act like she's developing into a boy, I'm not impressed. Because it's real easy to be a boy. We don't shave. We don't shave hairs off our body except our face. Okay? We don't do our nails, our pedicures. We don't, you know what I mean? We don't have to worry about our stockings and our panties and all that kind of stuff. You know, we don't go on periods, you know what I'm saying? We just chilling. But they tried to pull her into this world where she was hating her life, you know, as a teenager. Now she's grown out of that. You know, I just was down there, you know, now that my grandbaby is getting older and she's an aunt now. You know, she's grown out of a lot of things, and her and her girlfriend finally broke up. So I don't know. I'm looking at her, and I think she's thinking that, like, maybe her gay days are over. I don't know. You know what I mean? It was fun while it lasted, but she's older now and a lot more mature now. We just need more gay people to mature, because that's what it is, a lack of maturity. It's a sickness. You're sick in the head. You know, you really are. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. You are doing things by choice and not by wisdom. You know what I mean? If the government and the White House, you know, I remember years ago, not too long ago, but a couple years ago, well, a few years ago, I remember we had a big suicide rate among teens. They had to shut it down. They went in to the schools and condemned suicide and condemned depression and all this stuff. But see, they're doing a different thing for gays and transgenders. They're telling them that it's our fault that they're depressed and that they want to commit suicide. Okay? That's different. Okay? But see, imagine if they dealt with the LGBTQ community today the way they dealt with depression and suicide just a few years ago. Okay? And they shut it down, and kids weren't, like, you know, just so quick to go out there and you know, try to do a fake suicide or anything like that, because they were getting condemned for it. What nobody, you know, even their best friends, gonna stand there and you know, pat them on the back when they did that crap. Okay? Now imagine if they did that to the LGBT transgender community today. You wouldn't be so quick to get on YouTube and try to counsel everybody to be transgender or gay, or make yourself a victim to everybody. You would just keep it to yourself. That's my problem with the transgender or gay community. It's not that they're gay. It's not that they're transgender. It's that it's got to come into my pocket. It's got to come into my space. You know, like they went after my daughter. Okay? And then I go to work, and there's people who want to act like, oh, they should be able to do whatever they want to do because they're gay. Like if I say, hey, sir, no public restroom. You can't, oh, is it because I'm gay? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's no public restroom. I don't care if you Paul Bunyan. You ain't coming in here, and the restrooms are closed, bro. Oh, it's because I'm gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's my problem when you bring it here. Because it's your choice. It's not a reality. It's just a choice. It's a choice, but it's a sloppy one. It's a nasty one. It's a perverted one. It's a stupid one. It's a choice. And all you want the right to be stupid, and our government is giving you the right to be stupid. And you're going to make up all kinds of, you know, speeches and, you know, little maps and little inroads and avenues and all like that to bring us back to stupid. It's still stupid, no matter how you slice it. And Joe Rogan doesn't need it in his life or his children's life. I don't need it in my life. Okay? We don't need to defend gay people. We need to tell gay people and transgender people to keep that mess over there. Keep it to themselves. Joe Rogan's sitting here saying that, oh, well, it doesn't affect my family if somebody wants to be gay and get married. What about your kids, though? I think Joe Rogan has kids. Maybe he doesn't. But what about, you know, your kids, or what about other people in your wife's life? Somehow this is going to come over here and flood over into our area. It's going to come in and invade our space. Every day my space is invaded by fornicators, adulterers, homosexuals, transgenders. Every day of my life, my space is being flooded. Well, not every day of my life, but every other day of my life. You know, just like last night, I'm going to do a video about it either tonight or tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Somebody had to throw Herschel Walker into my face. I didn't even know whether he won or lost, okay? Because I never went back like I promised. But they know I'm a Republican, so they started hating on Herschel Walker, and I'm gonna do a video on it because it's so. You know how I like to put my people in place. So I'm gonna not talk about it here. I'm gonna talk about it in the next video. Well, in another video or two. But let me finish here. I'm running out of time.
Means to be American, to have that freedom?
Well, right. No. Freedom to do what you want. No. If that's what America stands for, then that's messy, it's sloppy, and it's going nowhere. It's lacking a plan.
Yeah, but right now we're not talking about what people are allowed to do. I'm not saying
Well,
that.
we're talking about marriage, gay marriage.
Okay, we were just discussing straight couples who choose not to have
Straight couples
kids.
choose.
Yeah.
That's also a personal freedom issue,
Right.
isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that straight couples should be legally required to have kids, but I if you're asking me, do I think it's the right choice to just get married and choose not to have kids ever? I do not think that that's the right choice. It's their choice, but people can make choices that are wrong, and you can disagree.
How is it wrong if they have a fulfilling and wonderful life together with that choice? If their thing is that they just want to have a bond between the two of them, to just like take it to the next level, let everybody know like we are married. If I die, my money's going to go to Helen. And if Helen dies, I'm going to mourn her because she was my wife and now I'll be a widower. Like, to some people, that distinction gives them peace and security and makes them feel better about the relationship, that they're both so committed that they've legally signed.
So I just want to make sure you understand, I agree with Joe Rogan about how people feel about marriage, how people feel love, and they think this is the only one they're going to be with. They understand, even though they don't believe the Bible, they understand that marriage is supposed to be forever and not divorce. However, they learn that. Hollywood doesn't know that. They go through divorce every time they have sex with somebody. They get married on Monday and get divorced on Tuesday. But most people, minus Hollywood, knows that marriage is supposed to be forever. However, they learn that. It's biblical. And that's the only place where it is. But marriage is supposed to be forever. You're never supposed to divorce your spouse. Okay? I just want you to know I understand and I agree with Joe Rogan on that aspect of it. Like, if anybody feels that this is the only one that they're going to be with for the rest of their life, I can understand the bond. But on Joe Walsh's side, and see, I did it again, Matt Walsh. On Matt Walsh's side, okay, I understand also that that marriage is not about the American liberal. Marriage is about the American Christian. Only the American Christian really understands what marriage is all about. And the way we are taught in church and trained in church, and prayed over in church, most young, not old, not people that have married a second time, but most young couples that get married at a nice, ripe, young age, they eventually want to have children because it's just in them. Even when they were young and playing around, they didn't care about that. But now that they're old and they're taking life seriously and they're settling down, part of settling down is having children. Because you want children, you want to make more Christians. You want to make more people like yourself because God has delivered you and made you into this brand new person, and you want to bring your children, you want to give your children a head start into that new life. So, it's hard for Christians not to want to have children. Okay? But I can understand why Matt Walsh would feel like you liberal people that are just, having fun, you're not taking this seriously. You don't understand the definition of marriage. As far as the true definition of marriage, I understand that only a Christian is going to live out that definition. A homosexual is not going to even understand that definition once he has feelings for somebody. And fornicators are not going to understand, okay, that position. But Matt Walsh needs to like explain to Joe that I understand, bro. You know, y'all been doing this for years, so I'm just letting you know what the definition is. I'm not saying that these two gay people don't feel like they really love each other, like they're the only ones, that they're never going to leave each other. I'm not saying they don't feel that way. I'm just letting you know what the definition is. Okay?
Find documents that say that they're bound by law and under the eyes of God or whatever you believe in.
Yeah. They're able to make that choice, but I think you're still rejecting one of the purposes of marriage. And in the scenario that you just outlined, you're also deciding to live a really self-centered life. You're saying,
What if you're... Thank you. Finally, he says it. You're living a self-centered life. It's all about you. That's it.
All about you.
That's it. What's your contribution now to your branch of the tree, of your family tree? What's your contribution? Because there is a such thing as family trees, and if there's no branches, no leaves coming from you, then what's your contribution? What, I made millions, and when I died, I left it to my wife, and then she died, and then she left it to the state, or she donated to her old neighborhood. What? After so many people do that, what happens to people? That's my question. That's my question, man. What happens to people? And I don't think we care. It's extremely self-centered.
Not. What if your work is very charitable? What if it benefits humanity in a deep way? What if you spend a lot of time doing, healthcare work and, social work, and you're deeply committed to your community? It's not selfish at all. You're just dedicating your time to something other than raising new human beings. But you're dedicating your life to enhancing other human beings that are around you.
That's a hypothetical.
It is a hypothetical, but so's yours, right?
Yeah, but I think most of the people that choose, like, we're not going to have kids, and the rate of those rates are declining, and the age when people first have kids is also going up, and all of that. And most of the people that are making these choices, I don't think it's because they're involved in charity work. I do think that it is more the scenario you outlined in the first time around,
selfish.
Which is just like, well, this is what I'm doing. I have my job. I don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Because of,
but don't you think that people should have the freedom to live their life in that way? I think human beings vary widely, in a huge way. And I think there's some human beings that find a very fulfilling...
My pastor was preaching a sermon one time, and he talked about how you grow old gracefully and you enjoy your life as a young person. He talked about how young people are called to start families. If you marry at a young, ripe old age, good age, but you're young and fresh, go away. Oh, Lord. What have I done? Okay.
life, just reading books and traveling and experiencing different things. And
if you marry at a ripe young age, he was preaching, and he was saying that, you spend so many years, okay, raising your kids. And then, when your kids are old enough to leave the house and go to college, you've done your part. And now you and your wife can have that space, to yourself. You got all that house space to yourself. You love your kids, but now you and your wife are going into another decade of your marriage where you finally get to do the things that you haven't done for so many years. You're able to just leave and go places together, and hey, sweetheart, we're in Canada. Why are you calling? You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mom, you didn't tell us you were going to Canada. You grown. I gotta tell you I'm going to Canada. I'll call you if I need you to come to Canada and bail me out. I don't, I'm saying we all grown, you can do that because your kids are grown, and now in your old age, in your middle age, you can have this relationship with your husband or wife that's very, 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 you can feel like a girlfriend again. You can feel like a boyfriend again. Okay, and it's okay because you got your kids. You did your part. And they're out there, they're living for the Lord. You know what I'm saying? They got their education, they got their jobs, they're well fed, they're about ready to have their own children. They're doing great. And it's good. Let me finish, because I'm going to run out of time.
Seeing art and doing whatever the fuck they want to do, and they don't necessarily have to have kids to live a fulfilling life that way. If they choose to do that with someone who they have a loving bond with and who they get married to, I don't think it's a bad thing that they don't want to have kids.
Well, I guess we have to, maybe we're running into a question of, now you get to the real fundamental
I
question.
think it's a fundamental freedom thing.
It's a selfish thing, Joe. Joe is cool as hell. I would like to sit in front of him and have a conversation, to be honest with you. And you know what? He's a bit intimidating too. Like, look at him. You sitting across from this big dude who will whoop your ass if you say something wrong. So Matt Walsh is sitting across from him. He's like, I want to say some things, but this brother is looking at me like he's not breaking his glands at all. It's just...
I've seen Joe Rogan tell, he's had contestants on his show where he said, man, I'll reach across this table and whip your A. You know what I'm saying? You think you can handle me? What, you think you can handle me? Like, you don't know nothing, dude. I'll come across this table, yeah, he's right. Like, that martial arts stuff goes to Joe's head sometimes. You know what I mean? You can't tell him nothing,
Like, okay, I might not say what I want to say to him, but when I get off this show, I'm going to say it.
We're not disagreeing, I guess, on the freedom aspect of it, because, again, I'm not saying that you should be required to have kids.
But you're imposing your sensibilities on what you think is important in life.
They impose their sensibilities on everyone else. Come on, bro. Come on, Joe.
Other people, but everybody has a different idea of what's important in life without hurting anyone. The thing is, like, what I'm saying is these people that are married, that don't have children, they're not harming anyone. They're not harming these unborn children that they never have. They're not harming anyone. And it doesn't affect your relationship with your family and your marriage at all.
That's true. It don't affect you personally.
I said it's true.
What you're doing behind your walls of your own home is not my business. What you're doing in there, that's not my business. All right? It really isn't. Unless, because after you look at the personal, like you look at the personal first, and then you look at community, and then you start to go out and outward and outward and outward, right? So, if you have nothing that comes from your house, then you have to look at yourself. What are you doing? If you are putting in that extra work into something meaningful that positively affect other people, then boom, you're absolutely right. Because there are some people who are having kids after kids after kids after kids, and they're not doing anything positive for the community at all.
Yeah,
at all.
right.
As a matter of fact, they're forcing other people to pay for their kids.
Yep.
So having kids is not the thing that's going to shape the nation. So I'm just saying, if you do it properly, you're in a marriage, right? You're in a bond forever, and you're forced now to look after these people that you've created and shape them in a way that they can be positive toward the world, the country, their city, their community, whatever. Then you've done a great deed, in my opinion. But if you do not, You know what I mean? Of course, we can speculate all day long, and everybody got their own opinions. But at the end of the day, come on, there's a right and a wrong. There definitely is. We just don't want to admit to one because we feel like, hey, look, bro, who has the right to throw their rights on someone else's rights? Right?
Yeah, but I'm not imposing myself on them or harming them by answering a question about
Right.
how I feel
Same
about their
difference.
choices.
Right, but nor are gay people doing that to you.
I think the harm
Yeah.
comes from, on a societal level, when we start breaking down these basic central.
No, you're wrong, Joe. You remember the transgender dude that said that men should love transgender women because transgender women can't get pregnant? Remember that? Remember him? Okay. Remember that? Go and look at some of these transgender videos and footage and see how these transgender women, these trans women, talk. Okay? About love, sex, and marriage. Okay? Ain't nobody, first of all, waiting for marriage in the trans community. It's all about, sex after surgery. Okay? It's not about love. It's about, you know what I mean? You got these trans women on there playing the victim, but they're always talking about who the next guy they're gonna lay down with is. Okay? And then you think Christians are supposed to sit back and say, oh, well, we just being a bigot about people being gay. You're not only gay, you're immoral. Okay, let's say I've learned this about gay people. Gay people are not just having sex with the same sex. They are fornicators as well. They are fornicators as well. Some of them have practiced incest. A lot of them is going after children. Now what are they doing right in front of your face and you're trying to act like it's not happening when it's happening to you in front of you every day? They're going into our schools and teaching our children to be gay, because if they don't teach our children how to be gay, 1 out of every 100 people will be gay. And they can't live with that. So they want to teach the kids so that there's more gay people in America than there is straight people. That's what they want. I hate to tell you, but that's what they want.
Institutions like the institution of the family and of marriage. That's where the harm comes from. And the more that people believe, the more that we build a society where it's believed that marriage is objectively meaningless, right? It's entirely subjective. It's just about making you feel better. The more that we build a society like that, I think that's where the harm comes in. The worse it is, and people are going to reject marriage, and that means more. Fewer kids are being born. Also, more kids are being born in a context where they don't have that stable family structure. So the harm definitely comes. It may not be this immediate, connect the dots thing, but and when we can already see that.
Thank you. The harm is definitely here. the harm is knocking on our doorsteps. But whether we decide to acknowledge it or not, that's completely up to us. I want to hear what y'all got to say, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Y'all let me know whatever y'all want me to know in the comments below.
All right, we're finally done. So that was LFR family, as you can see there. And he has so much. If you're trying to hear another side of what's going on the right and the left, and you're on the fence, you want to consider some things, you've been gay all this time, or LGBTQ, transgender, whatever, all this time, and you want to look at other ways of dealing with this and other ways of living your life, and you want to hear the other side and what they got to say, don't just come to my channel. I'm showing you other people out there that can talk about this stuff better than I can. Okay, I got to get out of here. They probably cut this into 2 videos without me knowing it, because they sure did yesterday. But I'm gonna stop here. D-Roy Cruz, your Life Applications Officer. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon with more. My next video is going to be continuing where I left off with the two lovely ladies in Jesus. Okay? Talk to you again soon. In Jesus' name.